Okay, history on why the Philippines and why I live in the Philippines. I originally came here through 81, 82, all the way through 85. U.S. Marine Corps. I was embedded with Filipino Marines doing operations during that time period and that. And I've been coming to the Philippines since the mid 80s, over the number of years and that, and spent quite a bit of time here. I plan on retiring here in the Philippines overall because I love the tropics and I love the aspect of there being 7,000 different islands which I can choose to be on at any one time. Living here, I find that there's less racial issues compared to the U.S. and other countries and that. There are some local people who do not like foreigners being here, but that's not very widespread. The majority of people are very friendly in that, and I don't have the issues that I've had in various countries around the world. Whereas I don't have those issues here. There were some issues when I originally started coming here, and that there are some people that won't have anything to do with you due to the color of your skin type aspect, and that, you know. There are people here that are as dark as I am and darker than I am. However, bleaching the skin, whitening of the skin, and changing the dark black hair into lighter colors and things like that, it's now pretty commonplace, which is sad to see. I was surprised when I originally got here with the culture. There's a lot of American culture here in the Philippines and that, because basketball is huge here. So anything to do with basketball, people can tell you about basketball players in the U.S. and that as well. Music is here big time with Black American culture and Filipino culture and that as well. So I found a lot of similarities in that aspect as well. From the early 80s even up until now. The thing that I love most is you always get a smile. There are always people smiling, you know, really hard times, especially in places like Manila. You know, there's 14.4 million people in the city. And people are doing it really, really tough. But you will always find the people smiling. People will always do their best to help you in that as well. When I originally came here in the early 80s and that, you know, I thought language was going to be a problem. A lot of Filipinos actually speak English. And if they don't speak English, and there's various dialects here, if they don't speak English, they'll find someone that speaks English in order to help you out. So if you have a problem, people are always willing to help you out in that as well. And another thing that I found was people wanted to know about you. You know, you'd be on the street and somebody asks, "Oh, hello, where are you from?" And they want to know about where you're from, what you're about, why you're in the Philippines, and things like that. And just basic conversations from knowledge aspects and that. And they're willing and happy to share those conversations, and after a 5-10 minute conversation, next thing you know, they're wanting to take you home and have you try a meal and meet their family and meet their friends, and yeah, joyful atmosphere and people singing together and that. Karaoke's huge now. Back in the 80s, it was more like break out the guitar, set a little barbecue and that, put some clams and that on a barbecue, and eat clams and drink together and sing together and just having a great time. And getting to know them and their culture. The other aspect as well, that the tribal aspect. There's still that tribal aspect with the people. The people have not forgotten where they come from. They remember what clans they're from. They still have the hierarchies of the clans and that. I've sat down with some medicine men and medicine women, so the ancestral aspects are still there. And if you're willing to learn, you can learn a lot from the people if you immerse yourself in the culture. cost of living comparable to Australia and the United States. It's a lot cheaper to live here. Um, I could cover my electricity, my gas, water, rental space. Um, when I paid for a month, I would end up paying more in a week in those countries compared to here. So the cost of living is very comparable and it makes it a very attractive place to live in that. Transport in that is cheap to get around in that as well. If I had lived in downtown Manila, the cost of living is extremely high. You won't get a very big place, small space, and it will cost you to live there. Food is very expensive in Manila as well. Whereas if you live in the regional areas or the provinces, it's a lot cheaper to live. Food's a lot cheaper, water's a lot cheaper, electricity is cheaper in that as well. So it's all about anywhere in the world, where you're living, the places you're living in and that. And if I went to one of the provinces, it could even be cheaper than where I live right now. The food here, I've always loved the food here. The food here is brilliant, actually. And the food varies from island to island, depending upon where you're at. The people in Negros would eat food that they're known for their sweets, cakes, and things that they make. Where people in Davao, they have a different food there. In Cebu, the food's different. Pampanga, the food, there's a lot of seafood in that, in Pampanga. The food varies in the various places that you go. But the food is brilliant. I have some favorites like tinola, pulolo, various foods, halo-halo. There's so many different foods that the food is brilliant if you're willing to experience the foods in that. There are some foods in that I just not for me. I have tried them, but just not for me. But you can find food everywhere, especially being we're in the tropics. Got huge mango tree. Get mangoes for free. I've got bananas growing across the street from me. Want bananas? I just go across the street and pull bananas out of the tree. You get beautiful pineapples here. And then the coffee. The coffee is amazing here. I'm a Barako fan myself, but there are some amazing coffees here as well. Medical issues. If you have medical issues in that, you can find some really good medical facilities here. And it's like everywhere, it's about money, people having money, but it's more affordable. The medical costs are a lot cheaper here. Dental care is a lot cheaper here. Optometrists are a lot cheaper here. You can get so much done, surgeries done here a lot cheaper than other countries. And you always have people that will raise this argument that, the Philippines and that, it's a third world country. A lot of doctors here are trained in the US and various other countries and that. There are more Filipino and Filipina nurses around the world than any other endemic factor that's out there at the moment right now. The Philippines is actually now surpassing Thailand in surgery, cosmetic surgeries and that are being held, and you have medical tourists in that as well. So, that's another reason why it's worth living here, because if I really needed something done, I couldn't afford it in Australia, I couldn't afford it in the US, whereas here, I can afford it. You also have to be accustomed to, a lot of people aren't accustomed to Filipino time. Filipinos are in Filipino time. I actually learned that. It seems to be something that's with any people from island life. Island life is at island time. So people aren't in a rush to be places, to meet you, to do things. They can tell you that they'll pick you up at such and such time, or meet you before lunchtime, and it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So you might have to make adjustments to have an understanding about that culturally, that a lot of people aren't in a rush. And it's actually a good thing, because I had that same aspect when I was living in Hawaii with the island life. You're on island time. So you become less stressed once you learn how to adjust to that aspect of that as well. Over the years, I've watched the infrastructure here change. There's new roads being built, clean water being put in places, and that. The beaches down by Manila were horrific for pollution. They're now clean. Riverways used to be full of pollution. They're now clean. The city itself is really, really growing as well. I think it's going to be a powerhouse throughout Asia if people look at it and watch it grow. From when I came here in the 80s, there were places that I saw that were just little provinces that are now cities. Back in the day, they were just jungle, and now they're full-blown cities with, shopping malls and everything that goes with that, and the infrastructure put in place to support it as well. So the place is really growing, even to the stage where if I don't feel like going out to shop for food, I can have it delivered within an hour from anywhere. I'm talking from not just fast food, but I'm talking if I wanted groceries from the grocery store, if I want medications and that delivered from a pharmacy, I can have it within an hour. And it's not going to cost me a hell of a lot as it would in other places and that as well. Deliveries, I've just been told a delivery costs $1. So there you have it. And I'm talking $1 for having all my groceries delivered with drinks and everything else to go with it as well. What did I say to foreigners moving here or wishing to move here or considering the Philippines as a place where you want to spend the rest of your life? The cost factors in that can be like anywhere, depending upon what lifestyle that you're used to living and how you would want to live. You can live an expensive lifestyle, or you can really live a comfortable lifestyle quite cheaply in that. But you have to consider what type of lifestyle you want to live and the places that you want to live. And the differences from where you're living now to comparable to where you could possibly be living here. Like living out in the provinces, not all the provinces have, running water and toilets and things like that as well. So it's dependent upon what your lifestyle is in that as well. What I would suggest is to come and, first time here, spend a few weeks, get around. And I'm not talking just hitting the bars and clubs and things like that and the tourist spots, but getting out into the countryside and getting out and exploring. You have to have that explorer attitude in you and adventurous attitude in yourself and that as well. It would suit someone like that, or someone that's into diving and water sports. You can travel to, 7,000 islands. You can travel to so many different dive spots. People like to surf. People like to fish. There is some amazing wildlife here as well. And there's some deadly wildlife here as well. Poisonous spiders. There's still rampant diseases and things like that. Cobras, spitting cobras, and crocodiles, depending on where you're at. But hey, you've got that in Australia and many other countries and that as well. In the U.S. have grizzly bears and wolves and coyotes and that, and rattlesnakes and that as well. So it's dependent upon where you're from, what it is you'd like to experience. And if you'd like to experience the aspects on infrastructure and that as well, in Manila itself, you got Makati, you got GBF, you got all of these different major hubs which are stock exchanges, IT capitals, and the growth that's going on here as well. So it's business sense like that. You know, they have major airports being built right here and now, trains, high-speed trains being built in that as well. So there's a lot of infrastructure taking place, and the place is really growing. So it will be a giant throughout Asia, and it's on its way and on track to do that as well. The aspect on governments and things like that and safety, all governments, or however you see governments, I won't get into politics. And safety-wise, I have not felt at risk. And trust me, I have been to some dangerous places, but I never felt nervous and at risk, not to the point where I'm worried about somebody, you know, trying to carjack me or just shoot me to rob me and things like that. It has its problems like any other place in that as well. However, these are all things that, you know, needs to be considered in that and comparable. So I suggest you come and spend a few weeks, and then after you spend a few weeks, spend a couple of months in various places. Go to various islands and that. Work out what place suits you. You know, as I said, this is the tropics and get very hot. It was 50 C here last week. It can be very, very hot, and there's other countries where it can get very, very hot. But in the same aspect, I can get in the car and go for a couple hours and be in the mountains, and it could be nice, cool weather. You got beaches, volcanoes that you can experience in that as well. In the mountainsides, so hot springs, waterfalls. So there's so much out there that you can experience that, you know, you didn't get the opportunity in other places to experience as I have here. And the people that I've met have been really friendly people. It could be for some people, you know, I love the food. I don't eat a lot of Western food here. I predominantly 75-80% of the time, even 90% of the time, my food is local cuisine. So it's what you're looking for. You must consider. I wouldn't do it off of, I'm going to move to the Philippines after only visiting here once and spending a week or two and you had a good time at some resort. You'd be surprised and shocked and culture shocked if you immerse yourself into a local neighborhood or being out in the provinces and that as well. Where if you get out into the provinces and experience those things, and do some island hopping and that and get away from the tourist spots, it could be a place for you that you want to experience and just spend the rest of your life. And I just find peace here, to be honest with you. I get away from the people and I spend a lot of time at home with my wife and, you know, and playing with our dog and, you know, and just living a quiet life. So there's those aspects to it. But if you want to party hard and drive hard and wild and be wild and that, it's here for you too. It's about what you're looking for. It's not a country for everybody. There are people that come here and they have this ideology and they find a girlfriend real quick and they end up broke. Like anywhere, you can find those that are just gold diggers that just after money, and you can find some really good, down to earth men and women willing to take care of you if you're willing to take care of them too, in a good, solid relationship. But it's about who you meet and who you should be with, like any place in the world. So I've had some really good experiences here. I've had some hard experiences here as well, but I've had the majority of really good experiences here, and this is why I choose to live in the Philippines. However, my job does take me away for a bit, so I work all over the world, and it takes me away for long periods of time. But when my job's very stressful, and then when it's time for me to need time to just relax and de-stress, this is where I come to do it, where I can just have some peace in life and that, and feel secure and well taken care of when I'm at home and relaxed. So I hope that answers a lot of the questions of those who are asking about the Philippines. And if you want information, I say experience it for yourself and make your own decisions. A lot of people, they talk a lot of crap about how dirty it is and how there's this and how there's that and slums and everything else. A lot of times, these are people that have never been here. They have never experienced Filipino food. They have never experienced Filipino culture. They haven't gotten to know the people and that. And, they've never been to the country. So they've seen it on YouTube, the slums of Manila or something like that. And they think the whole country's like that. They haven't experienced the cleanliness and that as well. Davao is one of the cleanest cities in the world, and then there are places just outside of Manila here in Luzon that are just amazing places. I was on Taal when you can still get up there when she was active volcano. I've been up to Pinatubo as well, which is another volcano. So you can have some really amazing experiences in that. But I say that it's something you need to do for yourself and see for yourself to make your own decisions if this is the right place for you. But I would say spend some time here, 2-3 months, and then go away to rethink if it fits in for you, and then a year. And then if it fits in, you find a lot of people, they spend 3 months and it's not a place for them because they've taken the time to work out what's for them. And then you find that there's people that spend time here and they keep going down to immigration and getting extensions. The next thing you know, they're retiring here. So to each their own and to each individual. So I hope this helps and answers some questions, but these are the reasons why I've chosen the Philippines as the place to die. And I hope that you like this video. Please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that you can get notifications of when we release more videos than that. Thank you for your time and thank you for watching our channel.